When the last shift foreman stormed out Bay 47, muttering curses about low pay, oil leaks, and impossible deadlines, no one expected anyone to stay. Not at Grathon Station. Not with the reactor coils sparking and AI drones down for maintenance. Everyone quit, except Dallin. Just a level 2 mechanic. 32, quietly capable, and entirely forgettable to management. He wore a patched uniform and kept to himself. Some thought he didn't speak basic. He just didn't like talking. That night, he looked around the empty hangar, the flickering lights, the hissing steam lines, the blinking red warnings. He let out a tired sigh and stayed. Not because of loyalty, because he needed the job. His daughter, Taya, was still recovering from the lung dust back on the Martian colonies. Medicine costs more than oxygen these days. So, Dallin clocked in, set down his lunch tin, and got to work alone. At 2:13 Standard Time, he heard it, a slow, irregular thrum behind one of the hangar walls near Fuel Line 7. He froze. That wall backed the central core distribution, and there wasn't supposed to be any noise from it. Certainly not when the diagnostic console's all red-green. Curious, Dallin walked over, laid a gloved hand on the wall. It was vibrating. Hell, he muttered. The first word he'd said all shift. He pulled up the maintenance AR overlay and scanned the pipe system. It showed optimal flow, but Dallin's eyes narrowed. Something was off. He dropped to his knees, popped the floor panel open, and stuck a heat probe inside. The reading spiked. 32 degrees over tolerance, he whispered. Why aren't the monitors picking that up? For the next 3 hours, Dallin crawled through ducts, opened panels, checked code, recalibrated sensors, and discovered a hidden nightmare. The primary thermal bypass conduit, feeding heat from the station's secondary reactor to its cooling grid, had a silent fault, a tiny misalignment that had grown over 6 months. Not large enough to set off alarms, but enough to cause superheating in the feed line, leading to microfractures. If the system hit full load, which it would in 3 days during the next cargo launch, it would rupture. Not a fire, not a leak, an explosion. One that would have taken out half the cargo bays, 2 haulers, and 5 docking ports, causing an estimated 15 million credits in damages, not to mention lives lost. Dallin sat in the shaft, sweat pouring down his face, heart racing. No one had noticed. Not the engineers, not the system's AI, not even the inspectors. But he had. He didn't call a supervisor. Didn't have one. They'd all quit. He went to Base 6, scavenged spare conduit plates, and hand-milled a replacement insert using the old fabrication unit. He bypassed broken mag welders using manual bolts. He crawled back into the shaft and worked for hours with shaking fingers, aligning pipes millimeter by millimeter. By sunrise, the thermal feed was stable. He ran a triple diagnostic. No vibrations. Heat flow normal. He sat on the floor, filthy and exhausted, watching the readings stay green. Then he fell asleep next to the system that almost killed him. When shift leads came the next morning, they found Dallin still asleep in the shaft, his hands black with carbon and his lunch tin unopened. What the hell happened here? Barked Juno, the returning lead technician, looking at the replaced conduit section. One of the junior techs, reviewing the logs, paled. Sir, there's a thermal record anomaly here. This fault. If he hadn't, get me admin. Now. That afternoon, Dallin was woken up by a security escort and told to follow them. He rubbed his eyes, confused, and staggered into the administrative floor, where the station governor, chief engineer, and even representatives from the United Colonies Authority were waiting. Governor Rolla, a tall woman with a voice like steel, looked him over. Mechanic Dallin Marrow, you pulled a full solo shift during a personnel strike, entered restricted systems, modified government-issued equipment, and rewrote diagnostics logs without permission. Dallin flinched. Yeah. Her voice softened. You also prevented catastrophic infrastructure failure, saving the station from destruction, and prevented a disaster that would have killed over 300 workers. The room was silent. The chief engineer stepped forward and offered Dallin a data slab. This is a full clearance promotion to station engineer first class. Pay grade tripled. Includes hazard bonus retroactive to last night. Dallin blinked. What? We reviewed the logs. The engineer continued. No AI caught the error. You did. You fixed it. You earned this. Dallin held the slab like it was made of crystal. Also, the governor added with a thin smile, your daughter's treatment package has been transferred to the station's full coverage medical plan. Permanently. That was when Dallin broke. Not in tears. Just a quiet exhale, like a breath he'd been holding for years. Thank you, he said, voice hoarse. Don't thank us, the engineer said. Thank yourself. No one else would have seen it. No one else stayed. By the next cycle, the mechanic bay was full again. Everyone returned, inspired by the tales spreading across sectors. The silent mechanic who saved the station. No one laughed at Dallin anymore. They saluted him. The AI was reprogrammed with his bypass fix. Training manuals were rewritten, and a new sign hung above Bay 47.